Hello everyone, welcome to the yarn bowl. Today in this video we're going to see how to crochet this cute piggy plushies. I made them using velvet yarn, and you can also use a regular size 4 acrylic yarn for working these plushies. All you have to do is chain the crochet hook to 3.5 millimeter. If you want a free written pattern of these plushies, you can find it in my website theyarnbowlcrochet.com. Link for that is available in the description. Also, if you have an Instagram account, do follow me on my Instagram handle as well. I post fun reels and project updates on my Instagram. Meanwhile, if you are new to this channel, please do not forget to subscribe to the Yarn Bowl and click on the bell icon as well so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. So this is the plushie that we're going to make today. It's so soft and cuddly, and I used velvet yarn for making this plushie, and you can also use size 4 acrylic yarn for working this plushie. Just chain the crochet hook size to 3.5 millimeter, and for this plushie I'm going to use 4 millimeter crochet hook, and we'll need scissors, and we're going to need safety eyes and one small needle and cotton crochet thread for working this nose details, and a big sewing needle for sewing in the parts together, and we need a stitch marker to identify the first stitch of each round, as we are going to work in a spiral while we are working this plushie. And it's so soft, cuddly, as I have worked this plushie with velvet yarn. Let's start making the head of the pig. So for this I'm going to work at a magic ring. This will be a round one. On the magic ring I'm going to work 6 single crochet. We are not going to end each round with the slip stitch. We are going to continuously work the next round. So we need a stitch marker to identify the first stitch of each round. So once you have worked 6 single crochets on the magic ring, you can go ahead, tighten the magic ring, and you can start working the round 2 right away. So for round 2 we are going to work 2 single crochets on each stitch around. So at the end of round 2 we are going to have 12 stitches. As I told you earlier, mark your first stitch with a stitch marker and proceed working 2 single crochets on each stitch around. So at the end of round 2 we are going to have 12 stitches. So after you have worked your round 2, tighten your magic ring and secure it with a knot. And proceed working round 3. For round 3 we are going to work 1 single crochet in one stitch and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. So the pattern is simple. Work 1 single crochet in one stitch. As I told you earlier, mark your first stitch with a stitch marker and proceed working 2 single crochet on the next stitch, and repeat this pattern around. Work 1 single crochet in one stitch and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. So we're going to have 18 stitches at the end of round 3. So go ahead, work this pattern around. I'll meet you at the end of round 3. Round 4 is again an increment round. We are going to work 1 single crochet each in 2 stitches and 2 single crochet on the same stitch for the next stitch, and we are going to repeat this pattern around. Work 1 single crochet each on 2 stitches and then work 2 single crochet on the same stitch for the next stitch. Mark your first stitch with the stitch marker. So now we have worked 1 single crochet each in 2 stitches. Now I'm going to work 2 single crochet on the same stitch for the next stitch and repeat this pattern around. work 1 single crochet each in 2 stitches and 2 single crochet on the same stitch for the next stitch. So repeat this pattern around. We should have 24 stitches at the end of round 4, and I'll meet you at the end of round 4. So now for round 5 we are going to work 1 single crochet each for 3 stitches and 2 single crochet on the same stitch for the next stitch, and we are going to repeat this pattern around. As I told you earlier, mark your first stitch with a stitch marker and continue working 1 single crochet each for 3 stitches and 2 single crochet on the same stitch for the next stitch, and repeat this pattern around. We should have 30 stitches at the end of round 5. So proceed with round 5. I'll meet you at the end of round 5. Now from round 6 on to round 11, for the next 6 rounds we are not going to increment any stitches. We are just going to work 1 single crochet on each stitch around. So from round 6 on to round 11, at the end of each round we will have 30 stitches. So as I told you earlier, go ahead, work 1 single crochet on each stitch around. So this is our round 6 that I am working. So now we are going to repeat the same thing for round 7 as well. We are just going to work 1 single crochet on each stitch around, and I'm gently going to pull the center yarn bit while we have worked our magic ring at the start of round 6. This will be easier for us to count the non-increment rounds, because we are going to work 6 rounds of non-increments, that is from round 6 to round 11. This is just a tip from my end, or if you want to use a stitch marker also to identify the start of round 6, you can do so. And proceed working 1 single crochet on each stitch around. So repeat this until round 11. I'll meet you at the end of round 11. So I'm here at the end of round 11, and from now on we are going to work our decrements. I'm just taking the yarn bit that I have used to identify the start of round 6 to the inside the amigurumi itself. And now for round 12 I'm going to work 1 single crochet each for 3 stitches, and I will work single crochet 2 together on the next 2 stitches. So this should bring down our stitch count to 24 stitches at the end of this round. So work 1 single crochet each for 3 stitches and single crochet 2 together for next 2 stitches around. So repeat this pattern around. We should have 24 stitches at the end of round 12. So now for round 13, I'm going to work 1 single crochet each for 2 stitches and single crochet 2 together for the next 2 stitches, and I'm going to repeat this pattern around. So don't forget to mark your first stitch with the stitch marker at the start of each round, otherwise you'll miss the count. You can't identify the start of each round. And now proceed working 1 single crochet each for 2 stitches and single crochet 2 together for next 2 stitches around, and at the end of round 13 our stitch count should come down to 18 stitches. So proceed with round 13. I'll meet you at the end of round 13. So now we can start our round 14. For round 14 we are going to work one single crochet for one stitch and then single crochet 2 together on the next 2 stitches around. And we're going to repeat this pattern around, work one single crochet on one stitch and single crochet 2 together on next 2 stitches around. So our stitch counts should come down to 12 stitches at the end of round 14. And proceed working this pattern around. I'll meet you at the end of round 14. So once you're done with round 14, you can stuff your head with polyfill, and before filling it with polyfill, go ahead, place the safety eyes for your head. So I'm gonna place the safety eyes between the 7th and 8th round from the top, and I'll have 6 to 7 stitches stitch spaces in between each eye. So work that way. So it should be good. And I'm just placing my safety eyes now, and then once I have placed my safety eyes, I'll go ahead stuff my head with polyfill, and then you can proceed closing your head. So now we have one more round left. So for round 15, which is our last round, I'm just gonna work single crochet 2 together in every 2 stitches around. So this should bring down my stitch count to 6 stitches. And once you're done with this round, you should have a small opening. You can just work slip stitches on every other stitch to close this opening. Just leave a long tail after you have worked this round 15 for sewing. So now work a single crochet 2 together on every 2 stitches around. You should have 6 stitches at the end of round 15. So here is our head for our piggy, and we have to add in the ear and nose details. So once you are done with this, let's proceed working ear and nose details, and we can sew them also to the head before working body and hands. And for this is one of the ear that I have worked. You need 2 of them. So for ears, I'm going to work a chain 3, work a slip knot and chain 3, and then work 1 double crochet on the second chain from the hook, and work 1 triple crochet on the third chain from the hook. So that's it. It's a very simple ear pattern. And then work a slip knot. I work a slip stitch and leave a long tail for sewing the ear to the head. So I have worked my slip stitch. So I have 2 of these ears. You can go ahead sew these ears to the head like this. So, and then we can start working our nose. For nose, I'm going to work a magic ring, which will be our round 1, and then I'm going to work 6 single crochets on the magic ring. And once I have worked 6 single crochets, I'm going to tighten the magic ring and start working my round 2. So now for round 2, I'm going to work 2 single crochet in one stitch and 1 single crochet on the next stitch around. So work 2 single crochet in one stitch and then work 1 single crochet on the next stitch around. Mark your first stitch with a stitch marker and then proceed working on this pattern around. We should have 9 stitches at the end of round 2, and then work a slip stitch and leave a long tail for sewing in the nose to the head. Also now leave a long tail for sewing and work a slip stitch, and then you can also tighten the magic ring even more and secure it with a knot so that it doesn't unravel, and then you can proceed sewing in the ear and nose details to the head. And you can go ahead use a small sewing needle with the black embroidery thread to add in the nose details. So once you are done with that, we can proceed working our hand and body. Now I'm going to attach my nose and work on my nose details. And then once you are done with that, you can add in the nose details, and you can use a blunt tip of a metal crochet hook to tuck in all the odd ends of the yarn inside the amigurumi. So our head is worked. Now I'm just gonna tuck in all these odd ends inside the amigurumi, and then we can start working the next part of the piggy. So you can use this head as a keyring also, so it's still gonna look good. Or if you want to make it as a whole plushie, you can start working the body. So now I'm gonna start working the hand. So you need to work 2 of these hands, and it's very simple and easy. So I have already worked one of this, and we are gonna sew these hands to the body once we have done working on the body. Now for round 1, I'm going to work a magic ring, and then I will work 6 single crochets on the magic ring. So we're still going to work on a spiral. We still need stitch marker to identify the first stitch of each round. So now this is round 1. So once round 1 is done, tighten the magic ring and proceed working round 2. So I'm tightening the magic ring here. And now for round 2, we are going to work 1 single crochet in one stitch and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. And you should have 9 stitches at the end of round 2. So proceed with round 2. I'll meet you at the end of round 2. Work 1 single crochet in one stitch and 2 single crochet on the next stitch around. Mark your first stitch of each round with the stitch marker. So once you are done with round 2, tighten the magic ring even more and secure it with a knot. Now from round 3 on to round 9, we are not going to increment or decrement any stitches. We are just going to work 1 single crochet on each stitch around. So we will have 9 stitches at the end of each round from round 3 on to round 9. So mark each round with this start of each round with a stitch marker, and proceed working 1 single crochet on each stitch around. You should have 9 stitches at the end of each round. Now I have completed my round 3. I am going to start my round 4. As you know, we are just going to work 1 single crochet on each stitch around. Mark your first stitch with the stitch marker. Like we have done for the head, we can gently pull in the center part of the magic ring the yarn bit that we have in the center part, to identify the first round of the non-increment rounds, that is the round 3. Just it will be helpful for our count, or if you want to add one more stitch marker to this, you can do that. This is just my way of doing. And then once I am done with this non-increment rounds, I'll just pull in this yarn bit inside the amigurumi itself. You can also use one more stitch marker here, and proceed working one single crochet on each stitch around. So this is my round 4. I'm going to repeat this until round 9. So go ahead, repeat this pattern around. I'll meet you at the end of round 9. So here I am at the end of round 9. I'm just pulling in the center part of the yarn bit that I have used, and I'm gonna tuck in inside the amigurumi itself and start working my round 10. So for round 10, I'm gonna work one single crochet in one stitch and single crochet 2 together in next 2 stitches around. So this should bring down our stitch count to 6 stitches at the end of round 10. Go ahead, work your round 10. So now for round 11, I'm just going to work one single crochet on each stitch around, and then I will leave a long tail for sewing. We do not stuff our hands, so don't worry about stuffing your hands. Just proceed working one single crochet on each stitch for round 11, and we are done with the hand for the amigurumi. So as I told you earlier, we need to work 2 hands for our plushie. So we have worked 2 of our hands for the plushie, and next step is to work the leg and the body. So the leg and the body is worked as one single piece. So first I'm starting to work one of these legs. So I'll work a magic ring for round 1, and then I'm going to work 6 single crochets on the magic ring. So like we always do, once 6 single crochet is done, tighten the magic ring and proceed with round 2. So now for round 2, we are going to work 2 single crochet on each stitch around. So this is an increment round, and mark your first stitch with a stitch marker, and then work 2 single crochet on each stitch around. You should have 12 stitches at the end of round 2. And then once round 2 is done, tighten the magic ring even more and secure it with the knot, and then we can proceed with round 3. And for round 3 and 4, which is the next 2 rounds, we are just going to work one single crochet on each stitch around, and go ahead, work one single crochet on each stitch around for round 3 and round 4, and at the end of each round we should have 12 stitches. So go ahead, repeat working one single crochet on each stitch around for round 3 and round 4, and I'll meet you at the end of round 4. So now this is one of the leg. I'll go ahead cut the yarn and work a slip stitch. So we need to work one more of this leg, but while you are done with the second leg, do not cut the yarn. We are gonna continuously attach the second leg to the first leg and start working on the body. So now I have my second leg here. So once I have done with second leg, I'm gonna work a chain 3 and then bring on the first leg. As you know, we have 12 stitches on each leg. I'm just gonna work one single crochet on each stitch around on the first leg, and then we'll come to the chain 3 where we have started. Once you are done working, one single crochet on each stitch around on our leg 1. And once when we have reached to our chain 3, we will work one single crochet on each chain on the other side for the next 3 chains. 1, 2 and 3. Now we are gonna work one single crochet on each stitch on our leg 2. So in this way we would have joined the 2 legs together, and we will have 12 stitches in one leg, and the chain 3 on one side and 3 single crochets on the other side of the chain 3, which will add to 6 stitches, and then we will work 12 stitches on the leg 2, which will come to 30 stitches. So now you may see the small gap on side of 2 legs. You can just use your center yarn bit that is in the magic ring to just bring down those stitches together and secure it with a knot like this. And now we can proceed with our rounds. So now you know you have attached your 2 legs and you have 6 stitches in between where we have worked our chain 3, and we should have 30 stitches the end of round 5. So now from round 6 on to round 11, we are just going to work one single crochet on each stitch around. So at the end of each round we should have 30 stitches. So go ahead, work one single crochet on each stitch around. And as you know, we have 12 stitches on this leg and 12 stitches on the second leg, and 6 stitches in between, which is the chain 3 that we work. So it sums up to 30 stitches, and that's what we are going to retain from round 6 to round 11. We are just going to maintain the stitch counts as we do not increment any stitches. Just work one single crochet on each stitch around. So from round 6 to round 11, which is the next 6 rounds, we are just going to have 30 stitches at the end of each round. So as we do on all our non-increment rounds, we mark the first round of non-increment round with the yarn bit that is in the center of the magic ring, or you can also use a stitch marker to identify the first round of the non-increment. So now I am proceeding to work my round 7. So I'm marking my first stitch of round 7 here, and then I'll work one single crochet on each stitch around and repeat this until we reach round 11. So continue working this way. I'll meet you at the end of round 11 to further progress with the body. So here I am at the end of round 11. Now let's start working round 12. Round 12 is a decrement round. We are just going to work one single crochet on each stitch for the 3 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together in next 2 stitches, and we'll be repeating this pattern around. Work one single crochet each for 3 stitches and single crochet 2 together in next 2 stitches, and repeat this pattern around. You should have 24 stitches at the end of round 12. So go ahead, work one single crochet each for 3 stitches and single crochet 2 together in next 2 stitches around. You should have 24 stitches at the end of round 12. So now for the next 3 rounds, which is round 13, 14 and 15, we are not going to increment or decrement any stitches. We are just going to work one single crochet on each stitch around. So we should still have 24 stitches at the end of each round from round 13 to 15. So go ahead, work one single crochet on each stitch around. You should have 24 stitches at the end of each round from round 13 to 15. Now for round 16, we are just going to decrement. We are going to work one single crochet each for 4 stitches and single crochet 2 together on next 2 stitches around. So go ahead, work one single crochet each for 4 stitches and single crochet 2 together on next 2 stitches around. You should have 20 stitches at the end of this round, the round 16. So here I am at the end of round 16. Now for round 17, I'm going to work one single crochet each for 2 stitches, and then I will work single crochet 2 together for next 2 stitches, and I'm going to repeat this pattern around. I will work one single crochet each on 2 stitches and single crochet 2 together on next 2 stitches, and repeat this pattern around. We will have 15 stitches at the end of round 17. Go ahead, repeat this pattern around. I'll meet you at the end of round 17. We should have 15 stitches at the end of round 17. Now for round 18, we are going to work one single crochet each on 3 stitches, and then we'll work single crochet 2 together in next 2 stitches around. So go ahead, work one single crochet each on 3 stitches, and then work single crochet 2 together in next 2 stitches. Repeat this pattern around. You should have 12 stitches at the end of round 18. Now after this, you can stuff your leg and body with polyfill, and before closing the body, and we can proceed working our last round after stuffing your leg and body with polyfill. So round 19 will be our last round. We are just going to work single crochet 2 together in every 2 stitches around. and this should bring down our stitch count to 6 stitches. And you should have a small opening. You can sew in the small opening by working slip stitches around, and leave a long tail for sewing the parts together. So once you have worked this round 19, if you have a small opening, work slip stitches around and then leave a long tail for sewing after you secure it with a knot. So now we have worked our body. You can go ahead sew in the hands to the body using a sewing needle. I have already added in the sewing needle to one of the hand, the long tail that we had for the hand, and once you are done with that, you can go ahead sew in the head to the body. And I'm done working this. Our pig is almost done. We just need to add in one final detail, which will be the tail, and let's start working on the tail. So for the tail, I'm gonna just work a slip knot and then I will work 5 chains. So go ahead, work a slip knot and work 5 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and work 1 single crochet on the second chain from the hook, and then work 2 single crochet on the third chain from the hook, and 1 single crochet on the fourth chain, and work 2 single crochet on the last chain, and then you can work a slip stitch, fasten off and tie both the ends, leaving a long tail just to attach this tail to the body. It will give you a small twist, and then you can go ahead attach this tail to the back of the pig like that, and then you can use a blunt tip of a metal crochet hook to tuck in the odd ends of the yarn inside the amigurumi itself. So here it is, our cute little piggy plushie is ready. So this looks so soft and cuddly as I have worked in the velvet yarn. You can also work this plushie in a regular size 4 acrylic yarn. You just have to use 3.5mm crochet hook for it. And if you want a free written pattern of this plushie, it's available in my website theyarnbowlcrochet.com. Link for that is available in the description. And if you have an Instagram account, do follow me on my Instagram handle as well. I post project updates and fun reels on my Instagram. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to subscribe to the Yarn Bowl and click on the bell icon as well. Thanks for watching. Bye.